So I'm going to give you my current thoughts on Ripple and tell you how I think it can actually currently move to $6 to $8 in this run, and potentially actually not even in the too distant future, because once Ripple gets moving, it's one of those coins that once it does get moving, it does tend to move very quickly and very fast and doesn't always give you a chance to get in. So you want to look at the signs beforehand so that you can act accordingly. And basically load up your bags and then ride it to the upside. And obviously a lot of patience goes a long way in crypto, because you always tend to be rewarded for holding on to stuff pretty long and playing out the bigger moves and getting those larger percentage moves. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. So let's just have a look here. So essentially, obviously, we've got this top here in March 2018. March, January, February 2018 at the peak of $3.30, and then obviously we've crashed all the way back down in the bear market to about 15 cents. But what you can see here is classic accumulation, which is basically once you reach this sort of bottom movement here, there's not really many more sellers, and essentially, although these moves are pretty big, to the upside you get like 200-300% moves. Essentially, it is basically essentially range bound, and it's XRP was not able to break 56 multiple times. So as soon as the bull market has kind of started to clock in, you can see this really nice pattern on the chart where you get this classic accumulation. And then once we actually manage to break out and close on higher time frames above 57 cents, you can see that we basically get this really nice retest down here at 53, and we've actually confirmed it as support and are now currently on our way to actually moving a lot higher. This is on the weekly time frame. If you can go on the monthly, you can actually see that essentially we've got these closes that we couldn't get above about 57, 60 cents. This was obviously the SEC news over here, but as soon as we basically broke out and we've come back down, you can see these deep wicks down here on the monthly, and now we're basically using it as a platform and a springboard to move higher. And I see Ripple as actually quite a good coin to hold, because in terms of the chart and what it's actually showing you, it's telling you that it wants to move higher, right? And where have we seen this before? We've seen this here. It's a similar kind of thing. You get this range-bound accumulation period, and then you move up higher, and then you springboard higher, and then push on to higher prices, and sort of push on from there. If you just look again, just quickly go back to ADA for a moment, you can see again something pretty similar over here, right? You get this range-bound movement over here, and this sideways up and down in this bear market where you get these large moves up and down. Where you can profit from, but the real money is made here where you're accumulating towards these lows, and then you ride it up, and you can see you get this candle here on the monthly where we break up, confirm it as support, and then move higher onto new prices, right? So essentially that's basically what I see here is happening on Ripple, and then we can start to attack these highs of about $3. So if we dial around to the daily, and we can kind of see what's happening here. What else do we see? If we dial a little bit lower on the time frames, we can see we can't quite get past this block here of about $1.75. At the minute we're just trying to sort of build some bases and support and see if we can break this. We can also sort of see here, once we've made this move up since the summer, where we got these lows, we've made this big move up here, and essentially we're consolidating here, and you can see also the potential inverted head and shoulders. So once we break this over here, and we could well be in the process of actually breaking this consolidation structure here, where we had this little breakout, retest, and then we look to push up. But essentially I see us grinding up past these highs, and then maybe we get something potentially, I'm not sure, because remember you can't always sort of get the time frames, but maybe we push up higher past this $2 mark, move up to about $3, maybe get a pullback to about $2.50, something like that, and then we blast off and then sort of break through, and likely what we'll find is probably once it breaks like $3.30, the all-time high, I wouldn't be surprised to see Ripple move up pretty quick, pretty fast. And then if you look at basically essentially measured moves from top to tops and stuff like this. You can extrapolate this from 700% there. These tops here, top to top, 500%, is, you could, maybe if we also account for a slightly more mature market and some diminishing returns, even if you got to say like, 200, 300%, where you get these moves up here, okay, that would put you at somewhere between $6 to $8 to $10, and it is something to look out for, maybe towards the market cycle top, which I don't see us currently being there at the minute. So that's basically what I would be looking at for Ripple. And Ripple also, this doesn't mean that it has to happen, but it's definitely a coin that didn't quite, hasn't really made a move yet, a significant move compared to all the other coins like ADA, Solana, DOT, all these sort of things. So yeah, I'd be looking for potentially this kind of move on Ripple, and keep an eye out for that. And if you actually look at the Bitcoin chart as well, it's actually really nice, because you can actually see, again, this is actually accumulation here. This is the way that I see it. Accumulation on the Sats chart, and if you break out of, you can see again, this sort of range is where it's been in before, which has proved other support resistance. But like you can see, basically when it breaks out of this range, things can basically start to move pretty quickly. And if you actually take this over here and sort of extrapolate this to the top of the trend line, without even going all the way up to the tops, because Ripple and other coins tend to do this quite a lot, where they just make these big fast moves up to these key levels, and then they basically just sell off. Okay, but even up to here, connecting these two highs, that's a 500% move. And if you sort of just take a 500% move from Ripple at the minute, with Bitcoin's current price, again, you'd get somewhere around the $6 to $8 mark. If that's sort of one way you want to play it. But even if you're this sort of sloping down with time, and you just basically just wind down a little bit longer, and you make it to maybe 8,000 instead of 11,000 stuff, that's still going to be like 400 to 500% move. So definitely something to look out for on Ripple. And you can sort of see how Ripple does like to go to these areas of like 1100, 2200, 2200. Again, about 1100 here, these key levels in terms of like BTC value, and then it basically usually just takes a big dump and a big sell-off after that. So yeah, you typically want to get into Ripple if you're quite bullish on this, and you like the chart. Then you want to get into it fairly early and actually hold it, and then basically just sell into strength if it affords you the opportunity at the higher BTC prices and stuff. I wouldn't be holding this any longer than really like probably 8 to 11,000 south. But good luck to you if you really wanted to try and hold it on to the top of these peaks and wicks here. But usually these price actions also tends to happen pretty fast. So that's how I would be analysing Ripple. And if you actually look at some older coins like Doge, and the way that sort of behaves, you get you can get some pretty similar price action when it comes to this. So we can just quickly find it. Doge is somewhere up here, but essentially, if I remember rightly, you've got with some of the older coins as well, like Doge and coins like that, is that they typically go from small, basically essentially then some sort of accumulation patterns, and oops, not bad. Let's pick a different one. But you can see essentially that it goes through these key these key areas where they just rip to the upside really quickly, come down, rip to the upside really quickly again. So just look out for these key levels when it comes to like sat prices. And for me, my risk tolerance would be if I was holding Ripple or any of these sort of coins, and we got up to these you know, big highs, I'd be taking profits around here. You know, if you're making 1,000% on your Bitcoin positions, and you can convert that back to Bitcoin, hey ho, you know, I wouldn't even worry about these massive moves up here, because every doubling, the higher the price gets, the harder that doubling becomes, and the less likely it is, and the longer it takes, right? So you can sort of see something similar here. Is not, you know, too dissimilar from if you look at sort of Ripple, where you have these basically these key zones, and if you actually draw it out like that, you know, you actually look at these key levels, as you say, okay, right, you can see this is a key area of support at around, you know, 750 sats, and you can mark out essentially the, you know, somewhere towards the top. So yeah, so that's basically how I'd be looking at Ripple, and I definitely think there's a decent chance that we can sort of get this move at some point in the bull run, whether that's now or a bit later, somewhere maybe a push up to these levels, up to about 10,000 sats, is what I'd be looking at a Ripple, definitely taking profits off the table at that point and back to Bitcoin. So that's basically my analysis of Ripple and where I think things might be going in the short term. But you can see essentially it's just creating higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and I expect definitely Ripple to challenge $3 at some point and probably move beyond that. I wouldn't be surprised if the SEC news plays some sort of role, but you know, the charts are telling you that it wants to move higher, right? So I wouldn't be too fussed about the news. Who knows? There might be some kind of black swan event or grey goose event that pushes the price higher, but you know, like I said, just look at the charts, and that's the best way to objectively analyze what's going on. Yeah, anything below sort of 37, sorry, below 52, down into the 40s and 30 cents, then obviously you can sort of look to reanalyze and sort of go, maybe something else is playing out here. But at this current moment in time, I think you can just have to say that essentially Ripple's been uptrending since the March 20 capitulation crash, and yeah, just basically marching and charging up towards about $6 to $8 potentially. So something to look out for. And yeah, that's it. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, comment, like, subscribe down below. Any questions, let me know and I'll get back to you. If you like this analysis, let me know, and I'll catch you in the next one.